Hi, this is Larry Benet, the Connector, and we're actually doing this live from BlogWorld Expo. How many of you have heard this term, or heard this phrase? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Let me prove a point. To me, it's the relationships that are critical. You know, a lot of times, one of my mentors once said, did I have contacts or did I have connections? And so just to put this in perspective, at BlogWorld Expo, where Yahoo's a sponsor and they have almost 2,000 people, some of the most influential bloggers in the world that are represented here today, about 3 weeks ago I actually just learned about this actual conference. And what's interesting about this, they already had all the speakers picked. As a matter of fact, Mark Cuban is the closing keynote speech on this Friday, and he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. So what's interesting is I spoke to a gentleman named Larry Jenkins, who is the CEO of Blogger and Podcasting Magazine. And what's interesting about Larry, he and I have never met literally until today. Now we've built a relationship though over the phone because I've connected him to one of my clients, Bill Bartman, who used to be the 25th wealthiest man in America. I've introduced him to venture capitalists who could help fund his company. And I've really tried to add value to him. And what's nice about Larry was a giver, and we've both been givers. So one of the keys, I want you to write this down if you're watching at home, those who give get a lot back in return. So if you're a giver and you're helping other people, focusing on what's important to others can really come back to you in a dynamic way. So for example, with Larry Jenkins, I called him 3 weeks ago and said, Larry, how can I help you? How can I add value to what you're doing at this conference? And what's interesting, I said, Larry, you're going to have sponsors, you're going to have clients, and maybe I can come in your booth, connect your audience, connect your sponsors, teach them how to grow their business through the power of relationships. So he did one better. I said, do you know Rick Calvert, who is the CEO of the Blogger, the whole trade show here, BlogWorld Expo? And he goes, as a matter of fact, I know him really well. So he actually sent an email on my behalf saying, hey, Larry's introduced me to billionaires. Larry's introduced me to venture capitalists. Larry is amazing when it comes to connection and connecting others, and really showing how the power of helping others and giving value first is really what the key to success is. And so as a result of that, literally within 1 hour, because of the power of that one relationship, Rick decided to say, we will make Larry the opening keynote on the first day, on the track for Entrepreneur Day. So I'm just getting started in blogging, and yet I kicked off one of the biggest blogging and social media conferences in the country, all through the power of a relationship. And check this out, I just met Larry face-to-face, Larry Jenkins, today. Now, if you're out there and you're thinking, well, how does this apply to me? They call me the connector. And what I try to do is I connect people to the resources, people and things that they need. And by always asking a simple question, how can I help you? And finding out what's important to others, you literally can connect the dots, whether it's and literally in the last hour, I met a gentleman who has been working for the last decade on a movie, his life story. He was worth one time $250 million and walked away from a huge inheritance. And as a result, it's taken him 10 years to get this movie done. And I asked him, he said Oprah Winfrey's people had called him, and he's trying to get on the Oprah Winfrey show. The feedback on his movie has been fantastic. And I said, what is the most important thing that you need to have more success with your movie? And he says, I need movie distribution. According to Oprah's people, they can't have a movie without mainstream movie distribution. So what I did in real time, I literally picked up this phone, and there's power in here because it's not just contacts, there's real connection, real relationships that I have. And I called a friend of mine named Charlie Gay. Charlie is the executive director of the Soul of Africa. Charlie is so connected that Nelson Mandela asked him to co-chair the Soul of Africa Foundation. And Charlie brought in Brad Pitt. Charlie brought in Richard Branson as patrons. Billy Graham calls Charlie to run his crusade. Now, why am I telling you this? Charlie, it's been a give and take relationship. I've been trying to help Charlie. And so literally I pick up the phone, I call his cell phone, I say, Charlie, there's someone I need you to meet. I want you to talk to Brett. Brett's got an amazing movie that he's created on his life story. He could tell you more about it than I. Within about a couple of minutes, Charlie and Brett exchange information, and the next thing you know, they're going to be looking at his movie. Charlie's got a big movie distribution company. They just launched a movie, The 10 Commandments, into about 900 theaters. And you just never know where things go. And this whole conference, I've been meeting people, and in real time, I'm connecting them to people that they need to know, all because of the awesome power of asking people, what do they need? How can I help them? And even though I am brand new to this space, I've made a lot of friends. I've built a lot of relationships very quickly. And so I just really believe if you are connecting others, really that's the key to success, by giving value
and focusing on serving others, you know, that's like the oyster. The world's your oyster when you add and like the massive value to the influencers. So we're at BlogWorld Expo. Last point: not all relationships are created equal. Not all networks are created equal. And when you realize this, if you're influencing the influencers and you're giving back the things that they care about, it is amazing what you can accomplish. You can make more money in less time. You could be more impactful. You can have more reach. And if you believe well-connected people have more influence, and I believe they do, if you can influence the influencers and add value to their lives, there's no telling what you could do in your business. This is Larry Benet, the Connector, hoping that you've learned something, and I hope we can connect in the future. And may you connect often, and may you connect and grow rich.